Are you ready, Mijo?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the share screen.
Yeah, do that.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could be a bit bigger.
No,
I think that's it.
it's
Wow.
okay.
That's
That's
my
okay then.
No, that's it.
Okay, we can see it.
Okay.
Can we mute ourselves, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay.
It's full screen on.
Wie is achter full screen?
Trevor.
I can't hear Trevor.
I had muted. It's full screen on my screen. It looks perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody. Today I want to show you some photography by the Belgian photographer Stephan Van Fleteren. I am already following him the last 20 years because I admire his work a lot. Contrary to the three other Belgian photographers we presented earlier, as you remember, hopefully, his photographs are mainly black and white. He's one of the most renowned photographers in Belgium. Stephan Van Fleteren was born in '69 in Kortrijk, Belgium. He studied photography at the St. Lucas Institute in Brussels from 1988 until 1992. He worked from 1993 until 2009 as a freelance photographer for the Belgian newspaper De Morgen. Apart from his work for the newspaper, he continuously worked on his personal projects. He has exhibitions all over the world. His photos are published worldwide in newspapers and magazines such as Le Monde in France, Paris Match, the Volkskrant, the New York Times, the Zeit, and others. Van Fleteren has won several prizes, amongst them the World Press Photo in '96, '98, and 2013. The Henry Nannen Prize in 2009 and 2019. The Dutch Portrait Prize in 2013. In 2021, he received an honorary doctorate from the Brussels University for his contribution to society. He lives in Veurne with his wife, his son, and 2 daughters. Among the general public, he is mainly celebrated for his work, for his penetrating black and white portraits, and people from all walks of life, from artists and actors to surfers, fishers, and sportsmen. However, his oeuvre is much more than that. Starting his career as a press photographer, he made captivating photo reports about events that dominated the news of the 90s, such as the genocide in Rwanda, the war in Kosovo, and the Dutroux affair in Belgium. Later on, he began to deliberate a variation of themes and extended photo reportages, going from storefront facades to a journey along the mythical Atlantic Wall, with something that we will see later on. A very important theme for him is Belgium. That's the book, the cover of the book. Belgium is a photo project about Belgium, of course. It is not an objective representation of a country, but rather a subjective photographical document in black and white. It is a journey of exploration into a small country in the heart of Europe at the turn of the century. For more than 15 years, Van Fleteren has wandered through and hunted in the Belgicum territories, guided by emotion and by the love for his homeland. He made a journey to a scarred land in search of the irretrievable identity of a country with the melancholic soul of an old nation. That's an old car. Stephan Van Fleteren says, back in the days before I had children, I often used to go abroad for a month, 3 or 4 times a year on a segment. Africa, the Middle East, America. I went whale hunting with a boat of Inuit. I worked in the slums of Nairobi. I photographed the porn studios of Los Angeles. As a new father, I started traveling less. I was working mainly in Belgium, and I had all kinds of projects going on. It was until, with inside of outsider, a Swiss friend of mine remarked that the overarching theme of all this was simply Belgium, that I saw for the first time how I fitted together. After that, I started working in a very focused way. I went on long journeys in my own country. I traveled in time. Now and then I would go back to the 60s or 70s. And I stepped out of my car with its GPS and mobile phone and stand in a farmyard the way it used to be 40 years ago. I consider myself a privileged witness of that which is disappearing. One of the cities he was interested in was Charleroi. Charleroi is an impressive visual testament of a city in transition. Art for Charleroi, soul for the inhabitants. In recent years, Van Fleteren has been wandering around for days in Le Pays Noir, the backcountry. He has a love-hate relationship with the industrial city on the river Sambre, where the coal mines have long been closed and where the winning steel industry is creaking under the global crisis. Van Fleteren is sometimes shocked by poverty, crime, and deterioration. But on the other hand, he is often moved by the solidarity, openness, and hospitality of the Carolos, the name the city is famous for among its citizens. Charleroi s'éclaire que le gris et noir is not only a visual testament of a city in decline, but also the personal expression of impressions, musings and thoughts of a man who watches, listens, and writes about the black ghost of a grey city. Since then, Charleroi has changed, and a lot has been done to make the city a better place. Well, since then, Charleroi has changed a lot. Has been done to make the city a better place to live. One of the leading museums of photography of Belgium is based in Charleroi. That's what you see now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next item, portraits. Stephan Van Fleteren is mainly celebrated for his penetrating black and white portraits of people from all walks of life. This book is portraits from the 1989 till 2009, contains 200 portraits of persons still living or that have died, who had some media presence during the previous two decades in Belgium or Holland, in any area of life, sports, politics, art, and so on. The portraits sometimes are melancholic, then again touching and disarming, but always captivating. I can tell you the names of most of the persons, but I don't know if you know them. They're all from Belgium or Holland. That's Aspinall from a band. Arno, a singer of Belgium, who died a few months ago. It's one of his latest portraits before he died. Sam Dellemans is a famous painter from Antwerp. That's not somebody of Belgium. I think he's a Danish guy, an actor. Matt Mikkelsen. That's a TV presentator from Holland. Wilfred de Jong. Another painter from Antwerp, Fred Berrevoets. And Con van Mechelen, also an artist, painting, all kinds of things. Another painter, Rinus van der Velde, who only works with charcoal, yeah, charcoal. Huge paintings. That's a writer who lives in Bruges, Delphine Leconte. So far the portraits. I'm going to show you a series about the Atlantic Wall. Photos that he made in 2013, 2014. Following the 70th anniversary birthday of the D-Day, Stephan Van Fleteren made a photographic journey of 2,600 kilometers along Hitler's Atlantic Wall. He planted his tripod on various beaches in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, climbed cliffs faces in France, sailed between the fjords of Norway, and stood in the surf of Denmark to photograph the ruins of the largest military structures of the previous century. He shows with this series of photos his wonder of the untamed architectural beauty of those concrete structures, and he shows the power of nature as it slowly reclaims these structures that were once considered invisible. Surf Tribe, another book that he made in 2018. In Surf Tribe, Van Fleteren shows that they are is far more than surfing, than just a competitive sport. Surfing is also about deep respect for the ocean, as well as that moment of insignificance, surface, very difficult words, surface we feel when confronted with the forces of nature. It's about battles won and lost, but with the surf and with themselves. He looks beyond the traditional surf spots of California and Hawaii and searches around the globe for people who live in places where sea and land meet. He documents a flute community which has nature as its own and only leader. He pictures talented youngsters as well as living icons and revered legends. In this book, there are no action shots on azure blue waves. Instead, you will find serene black and white portraits in his well-known hunting style. He reveals the real person behind the surfer in all his strength and weakness. This series of images penetrates the true heart of the surf culture, the love for the water, the addiction to the waves, the passion for the surf. This book that Stephan Van Fleteren made during the Corona walks, so not that long ago. He made the photos from the start, the first lockdown, and further on in 2020. In Belgium, people could go outside for a walk. Once a day around 6:30, he left his house with his camera to go to the sea, forests or fields. He named his walks the Corona walks. About these walks, he says, it's not going so well with the world, or more correctly, it is not going so well with humanity and its system. While cities are ghost towns and economies are crashing, nature does not behave more differently than usual. Spring is budding. Last week I saw the first bumblebee, the day before a butterfly, and today a purple dead nettle in the dunes. Clouds float on, perch up at each other, waves break. In the west, the light disappears Everything as usual. And yet you see more clearly now. You can see that winter storms have changed the beach. The egg flows back to the sea otherwise. You imagine large viruses on the top of the broken trees. You gaze at the holiday apartments buildings, and you don't think of tourists but of prisoners. An invisible virus makes you think differently. Temporary happiness is a great drama. In a great drama, sorry. The walks are slower, longer and darker than before. No rush, no impatient messages are written in your mailbox. Walking becomes strolling. I hang on, retrace my steps, wait, watch, observe, and shooting from the wrist that does not wear a watch. Some people clap their hands to support the healthcare sector, sing or makes music from a balcony. Others send poems or hang a white blanket in the window. All equally meaningless and yet so very useful. The fellow man comforts and supports. The evening does not fall alone. We will get up together later. Well, that's it, folks. You see here the list with all his prizes and the books that he made. And yeah, last year during the period of the lockdowns and so on, he had a big exhibition in Antwerp, and they had to close it for a while, but then they reopened it and it went further on in 2020. They had more than 146,000 visitors. That means a lot, I think. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mijo. Those actually, I really like the last ones, the Corona walks. Yeah, I think they're very
Yeah, it's
creative,
beautiful, yeah.
very creative. Yeah,
He
Yes.
shows drama and everything, doesn't he? Very good.
Mhm.
To my view, anyway.
yeah. Thank you very much, Mijo. That was
Thank
very
you.
interesting. Yeah.
Maybe we can
Really
show
good, Mijo.
another presentation in a few years because he started to work more with color photography, but always that soft, dark colors. It's
Yeah,
very
no,
interesting.
there was a good mix there, yeah, of some great portraiture and very personal. The whole thing's very personal, yeah, which is
Yeah.
really interesting. Staying true to oneself, yeah.
Yeah.